Hey guys, this is the fourth of six video capsules on the intellectual operations, and in this one we're working with determine changes and continuities. So again, why do we have the intellectual operations? If you want a better look at that, you can look at the first video capsule. We dive into that a little bit more, but let's move right on to the determine changes and continuities concept. So these particular questions will usually ask students to identify changes and continuities at different moments in a single society's history. So it's always the same society over time. And in this case, if you look to the right, this is New France between 1660 and 1668 with a transitional date of 1665. And the change would be that before 1665, New France was basically under the protection of militias. Then after 1665, the Carignan-Salière regiment arrives to protect the colony. So this was a change in the military protection of the colony. Look at point number 2, which is also interesting. They can include value statements like advancement or decline. So they can say whether, for example, the arrival of the Carignan-Salière regiment in 1665 in New France was an advancement, a decline, or how it affected one group or another. So let's get into that a little bit more here in the development guide. So again, you'll see a beginner, intermediate, and advanced version of one of these change and continuity questions. And in this case, in these three questions, the topic is education in medieval Europe. So if we go to the beginner version of this particular intellectual operation, which is identify change and continuity over time within a society, here we see education in medieval Europe in the 15th century and in the 21st century. So again, one society, in this case, it's even one university, which is the Sorbonne in Europe. And students will have to put something together like, during the Middle Ages in Europe, most teachers were members of the clergy, but today, teaching in Europe is mostly a secular practice. So this is a change in European education between the Middle Ages and today. An intermediate version of this question will add on the idea that students now have to make a value statement about it. So we have similar documents here on the right-hand side. Again, the answer a student would come up with is similar. During the Middle Ages in Europe, most teachers were members of the clergy, but today, teaching in Europe is mostly a secular practice. This is a sign of progress. So that last little bit cranks up the difficulty level on the change and continuity intellectual operation. They've made a statement now based on some basic facts. This is now even more interesting. Let's look at an advanced version of the change and continuity intellectual operation. We have three documents here. Documents 2 and 3 will sort of elicit a response that there has been a change in the education in Europe over the last 500 years, let's say. But document 1 now allows students to chronicle that impact. So let's look at a potential answer. During the Middle Ages in Europe, most teachers were members of the clergy, but today, teaching in Europe is mostly a secular practice. This is a sign of progress because, now here is where we have an advanced version of this question or this answer, because it has allowed for less censorship in education. And the document that should point students towards this concept of censorship in education during the Middle Ages is Copernicus's book, which taught of a heliocentric solar system, which was censored by the church, but would not be today in modern education. And that is a sign of progress. Basically, allowing science to evolve is a sign of progress. And this is why this ability for students to chronicle or basically create a narrative of these three documents is an advanced version of this question. It forces even more critical thinking. So this was a development guide for the change and continuity intellectual operation. Check out the others.